Hello, thank you for joining us. This is your show, Doctors, where we share principles, insights, wisdom, and invaluable tools and inspiration to help you become the ultimate healthcare provider so that you can transform our world to a healthy universe. I have the privilege today of interviewing a friend of mine, someone who is knowledgeable, insightful, and extremely well versed in the field of marketing. Now, I know what you think about marketing. What is it? It's another company, it's another show, it's another process, it's another sale. That's not what this is. I have with me Cara Ruzila. She is from Illinois, a place where, although it's a windy city, I want you to know that it is a beautiful place. But one thing is for sure, she resides there with her family. Her husband is a doctor, a client, as a matter of fact, of Consultants of America, someone with whom I've had the privilege to work and someone that I trust. Cara is unique in what she does because she is married to a doctor and at the same time works in her own marketing agency. Cara, welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So I want to ask you a few questions. Obviously, these are challenging times as people think. We've heard from the news all the negativity and all the things, and everybody's talking about when is it going to reopen, what should be. But we have doctors, and doctors today, including your husband, are in practice. And thank God from everything that we're hearing, most of the practices are still open, working on a less of a capacity, which is understandable because some people or some patients are worried. But what would you say? What could you give us? Some insights as to what you would recommend, what you're recommending to your client, and also what would you recommend to your husband? What would you recommend to all of us? What should we do regarding the marketing? Give us some insight on that if you may, please.
I think the first thing is do not stop marketing. This is a great opportunity, I think, where a lot of businesses, chiropractic and other businesses have gone through a position where they feel like they need to stop. And at this point, us as a chiropractic community and a medical community, we cannot stop. This is a good chance to get ahead of the game in the way that, when people do stop, they're going to see you first, especially on social media. And when I say social media, that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google. This is just a great opportunity when people are stopping to get ahead. And that's one thing that, I've definitely told my clients and my husband, and I think, we've noticed a big change, in the amount of patients and in the amount of leads, that we're getting. And leads are people that come in, that have interests that are, we call them leads before they're patients. And this is a great chance, really with people being home, to really educate people on the services that are being offered in the office. My husband, for example, has an office where he treats, many pain conditions. He treats a lot of functional medicine, patients. And, we're using this as an opportunity right now to really educate the public, on the different treatments that he has to offer, because people do have the time. They're on social media more than ever. Facebook numbers are up, Instagram numbers are up, YouTube views are up, and so, this is just a nice chance to really get out there.
It's a great point. That's true. People are home. They have a lot more time on their hand, and especially after spending so much time with their family, with their loved ones, or doing anything they want around the house, they end up with their phone. I read the statistics. I don't remember the exact numbers, but most people today view all of their social media on phones, on mobile, as opposed to their computers. If you were to create a campaign, which you mentioned about, or something like this, what social media would you use? What would be your number one choice, Cara?
I would have to say Facebook. I feel like, especially at this time, people are looking at Facebook in a way to feel comfort. They're looking to see what other people are doing that they're connected to. They're looking for advice. They're looking for guidance. And I feel like that platform is being used more than ever. And that's one I would, because of that, that's one I would say that a good amount of ads should be put on that platform.
So I'm not using ads yet. I'm at home. I'm at the office. I'm in practice. I'm busy. How many times a day would you say would be recommended to post every single day, and which days of the week?
That's a great question. I would say Monday, definitely Monday. I would say at least 4 to 5 times a day. Right when, in the morning, because that's what people do when they wake up, is they look at their Facebook. I would say closer to lunch, because again, people are looking at their Facebook during lunchtime, especially if they are working from home. That's their outlet. They're taking a break and they're looking at social media. Again, mid-afternoon, people get that mid-afternoon slump where they need to just tune out for a little while. And then again at night, I mean, I would say, after, not during dinner time, because people will not be on there during dinner, but definitely 7 o'clock and then again 9 o'clock. And to be honest, there's times, if you can schedule it, you can post it in the middle of the night, because people are worried. And people are looking at social media in the middle of the night. So that's a great opportunity there to really, schedule your posts out. And Facebook allows you to have that feature where you can schedule it to be posted anytime. But like I said, Mondays are a really good day. Tuesdays, Wednesdays I find are not a great day. Thursdays is another great day. Not Fridays, and then the weekends now. During this time, I would say definitely the weekends.
So 5 to 7 posts per day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and the weekend, preferably on the times that you mentioned that are more appropriate. What kind of information would you recommend that I would post, irrespective of what kind of clinic that I have?
At this time, I think people just they like to feel a part of something, especially when they're not able to be with, outside family members and friends. They really want to feel secure. And I think, posting things where they can feel like someone's listening to them, and making them feel good. I wouldn't be mentioning, the virus or anything like that. They want to know that they're normal and their lives are normal. And so anything that really promotes what you're doing in your office, that's really non-virus related, just to bring some normalcy. People are tuning out posts that have to do with the virus because they don't want to see those anymore. And that's all they're being inundated with online is that. So anything that really promotes your office in a positive way.
That's a great point, Cara. I agree with you. I think irrespective of whether or not the news have overblown, over-exaggerated, over-emphasized this whole virus, people are tired of it. It's on the news every single moment and every channel and everywhere you turn. So I agree with you that the doctors should be the ones bringing it up and boosting up the positive attitude of that. That's a very good point. What would you say about Facebook Live as opposed to regular posts? What would you think about Facebook Live? Is that good? Is that something you would recommend? And what was your opinion on that?
The problem with Facebook Live is that I do like it, but it can become controversial sometimes with people's comments. You don't know who you're going to get. You don't know your following. So, when it comes to, I think, the chiropractic profession, it's a really good idea, I think, to do, either webinars or pre-recorded videos and then post them on Facebook. I think sometimes, you don't know what type of comments you're going to get. And it's really hard, I think, in the middle of you doing a live, you can get very distracted and you kind of lose focus.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely. We've seen ourselves that when we put Facebook Live, we really don't know the reaction of it as opposed to a regular post. If there is a post and the post gets shared, likes, comments, whatever the case may be, and you have a doctor here who's been posting days after days, it only gets 1 to 2 views, maybe sometime not even a view or a like or a comment. What would you say about that? Is that a reason to stop, or why am I getting these non-views? Could you comment on that for me, please?
That's a great question. It's one that I feel like I get when I start with a new client. The way Facebook works is they really want you to spend money. So when you make a post to your page and it's not a paid post, obviously your goal is you want views. Well, Facebook has an alternative goal. If you don't have a lot of followers on your page or a lot of traffic from that post, Facebook's not going to deliver it. So once you get someone to either like the post or to comment on it, Facebook sees it as a good post and they'll distribute it more. So two things can happen. You can either boost the post as a payment option, and you can put a small amount in per day, maybe $5 a day, and that can build some traffic. Or you can ask, maybe a staff member or maybe a patient, that follows you a lot to make a comment, and that will kind of boost the post organically. So more people have eyes on it. But I definitely wouldn't stop. That's something that over time, the more you post, the more the page looks reputable. So that I would definitely not stop.
I heard comments, and I know this is prevalent, unfortunately, in the industry, and certainly in almost all fields, but obviously also in the field of marketing, that there are companies, and I see that sometimes often in sponsored ads. I've seen that, interestingly enough, in some of the competitors, if we may call them competitors to Consultants of America. I'm just laughing when I see that the comments seem to be made up, or the likes seem to be repetitive or bought, or somehow that there is some type of a bot system in there. Can you comment on that? Can you buy likes? Is that the right thing to do? Is that something that you recommend at all?
So there are many, many businesses, and I've found many clinics that do buy likes, and it's probably one of the worst things you can do. Facebook will find out at some point. They may not find out immediately, but they know when likes are bought, and they can shut down the page immediately and possibly your Facebook account. And here's one of the other things. It ties into Google. The more likes, organic likes you have, real likes, really promote, your standing on Google as well. So when you buy likes, it's probably one of the worst things you can do for not only your Facebook standing, but your business.
Great. That's a great comment. I really appreciate that. So I want to ask you another question regarding, you mentioned something about a page. Mm-hmm. Would you recommend for a doctor to have a page? And if so, should the page be in the doctor's name, the doctor's clinic, or should there be perhaps more than one page?
This is another really good question. I feel that comes up a lot, especially when a doctor doesn't have a page. There's two different things that, I always advise a doctor with a Facebook page, and you kind of have to have a long-term strategy when it comes to your page. A lot of doctors right away want to name their page by their doctor name. Like for example, like Dr. Paul Ruzila, who's my husband. He does not have a Dr. Paul Ruzila Facebook page, for his office. And reason being is his long-term goal is to make his office sellable. So he can't really sell his name. He'd want to sell his office name. So I always present that to a doctor when they're trying to make that decision is should they, promote their business name or their personal name. I think when it comes to branding your name, if you want to brand yourself, it's a good opportunity to have that page, but you should also have your clinic name as a page.
Wow, it's interesting. And when you post these posts, what is a percentage, if all of it or some of it, of the posts that you're posting should also go on your page?
On the Facebook business page?
Correct.
So, wait, can we stop a second? Hold on. I got really confused with that question. I'm sorry. So the percentage of how many posts?
Okay. So, wait, that way they know to cut it. The posts themselves, should they go into the page or should they go the private posts? If they have a private page and then they have, should they separate them or should they mix them?
Got it. That makes sense. Okay.
Right. Now, regarding the page itself, if I have a page or a personal page or a business page and I post, what will go into my page and what should go just onto my posts for my personal feed?
I think both. I think both should go on both, because I think a lot of patients, and I know my husband has gone through this, where they friend him. They want to be his friend on Facebook, and he never denies that. So and to be honest, your personal posts are going to extend more to more people than your Facebook business posts. So I always advise that when you have a new patient, you become a Facebook friend with them. Find them on Facebook, ask them to be your friend. If they don't find you, and then when you have your post everything on your personal that you would your business page.
That's a great point. I really like that. It is an issue, and I'm sure you've experienced this, but you have issues about personal people. I don't have personally myself, I don't have my own personal Facebook page or posts, anything like this. I mix everything into the business. At the same time, I think my wife personally would be somewhat uncomfortable if I posted a picture of a grandchild or something. What would you say about the doctors? They have a picture taken at the beach with their spouse, or perhaps their mother visited them, or maybe they took a picture of something that they did at home. How much of a combination or a rationalization there should be between the private sector and the business part of it? How much of that, or should there not be any? So I don't have personally a personal Facebook, in other words, where I share things with my family, my children, my grandchildren. But if I had one and I wanted to take pictures of my grandchildren or my wife and I, taking a walk or visiting friends, and then I have a business, page, would I post on both, or should I mix? Because some of the doctors, I'm assuming, are not mixing. Some of the doctors have two different ones. Do I just do this because that's between my wife and I, and then I post something else from the office? What would you suggest on that, Cara?
I think you can do both, and I think the reason being is people need to see you as a real person. You have a life. If you have kids, or you have grandkids, or you have a wife, or you have a husband, they need to see that, but you don't want to overdo it either. If you're a person that uses Facebook a lot personally, and you're posting personal pictures 3 to 4 times a day, I wouldn't do that with your
Yeah.
But if you are a person that maybe posts something, if you go on a trip and maybe there's a great shot of you and your family at the beach, or you're with your kids playing soccer, that's a good thing, because they need to see that you're a real person, but I wouldn't overdo it.
That's a good answer. I really like that. I want to ask you another question regarding now marketing, and marketing from a professional standpoint. So now you told me when I should do my own post. This is all about me. And you said perhaps even boost some of the ads or the post which I've made. Fine. I want to do a campaign. What would you say is a reasonable average amount of money to put into a campaign, and how would you start that from your standpoint? You have many clients throughout the country, and I'm pleased to say that many of our clients work with you, and I cannot tell you, and I want to thank you at this point online, how grateful we are for what you've done for our clients, because they benefited, you benefited, we benefited. Everybody loves success, and I want to thank you personally for that. So what would you suggest, Cara, on that aspect? What would you do when a client calls you and says, how much am I going to spend? What am I going to get? What would you say?
So I think a really good starting number is between the range of $300 and $600 a month. And that's really if you're running a campaign that's asking people to schedule a consultation in your office. There's no real overhead for that. You're not looking at a seminar where you're having to pay for meals. So your spend is really going to be $300 to $600 on Facebook. And I always advise doctors to start with that. And once you get a really good success rate with that, and you get a really good ROI, then that's a good opportunity to start scaling your money higher. But I would never advise a doctor to start any higher than the 300 to 600 until you feel confident that you can spend more.
That's a great number. And I honestly, I didn't think it would be that low, but I have to believe that you are doing the most conservative way, which I love that, because it gives me the opportunity to test the waters before I can go further. So I spent $300 to $600. How long would you say that budget should stay until I go up to the next level? And what would be that next level?
That's a great question. So I say when you close your first patient, and you feel confident.
I'm going to interrupt you here for a second. Every time I ask you a question, you said it's a great question. I just want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, this is not pre-recorded. We did not have the questions. I don't have these things. So even though she says these are great questions, these are questions have nothing to do with us making any kind of a show in here. I appreciate you, saying it's a great question, but it is not at all something that we had prepared. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't know why. They are good questions because I get asked these same questions all the time. So I'll stop saying that.
Now, I just want to make sure that people knew that these are not, set up. This is just a live show. I appreciate working with you because you're an honest person, and your ethics and your integrity is what has made us friends for such a long time. And I want to make sure that I reiterate that. I'm sorry. Let's go back into our question, please.
So I always tell doctors that, a good point to make that decision to increase your ad spend is when you close your first patient, whether it's for a cash-based fee or, whatever the way you're charging your patients. When they commit to care, that's a really good opportunity to know that you spent, X amount of money, and that's how much that patient was worth to you. And then you can make some decisions moving forward. And then you can close your second and then your third. And most doctors then feel confident that they can increase their ad spend and they can close more patients.
So start slow, keep on growing, test the waters, make sure that you know what you're doing. Would you go after one specific condition, let's say decompression, neuropathy, low back pain, headache, whatever the case may be? Or would you have multiple campaigns running at the same time trying to attract many different people?
I always would say to start with one condition. And that's one thing that when I started this business with my husband is we tested so many different ways of marketing to different people. And we learned through trial and error that the best way is through condition-specific marketing. So I would focus on one condition. Once you feel confident with that condition, then we can start adding in, new conditions to market, but I wouldn't market them all together. You would start with maybe knee pain and focus on knee pain. And then when you feel confident with that, then you can have a separate campaign that focuses on back pain with decompression and so on.
Yeah, great point. Great point. And you and I know that from the results that we've seen, the successful results we've seen from our clients, that's exactly what happened. Another question regarding Facebook. So I get what you said about Facebook and really appreciate everything that you've said. Would you also recommend to run a separate campaign at the same time with Facebook, along with Instagram, or Facebook with Google AdWords? What would you do about these other platforms that are out there? Would you do them at the same time? Would you not do them? How would that work?
Yes, there's so many different strategies when it comes to using multiple platforms at one time, and it really depends on the condition. So you brought up Instagram. Not every condition does really, really well on Instagram. And what I mean by that, it may not convert very well. The audience may not be there, nor same with Google ads. There's different things that you can do, with Google ads and Facebook and Instagram. For example, you can retarget across both platforms. Facebook and Google are very different in the way that they attract different leads. Facebook, you're on Facebook and a lead sees your ad by accident in a way. They're being targeted because of a specific condition, but they're not typing in, low back pain in, Charleston. They're not typing that into Facebook. They're looking through their newsfeed, looking at their friends' posts, looking at their family's posts, and then all of a sudden, your post about back pain comes up. And, so it's kind of stopping them in their tracks where Google, they're physically typing in, Charleston chiropractor or, Charleston low back pain or Charleston stenosis, keywords like that where they're actively looking. So a really cool feature is, you can type those words in, find that doctor, and then Facebook, you can set a pixel onto that page where Facebook then can find that, find that person. And then when they're on Facebook, they can see, a Facebook post. So there's cool, things that you can do across all these platforms, but you have to be very particular in what you're choosing based on the condition you're marketing.
Right. And this is where your expertise comes in, obviously, on how to make sure this happens. And I know for a fact, I've seen working with you. And by the way, Cara also advertised or did the campaigns for Consultants of America. So I'm quite aware of some of the work that you do. I have one last question for you, and I really appreciate your time, Cara. One last question for you, if you don't mind. These are challenging times for everyone. I have a certain amount of money. I'm spending it on marketing, and I am trying my best to get as many patients as I can. None of us know how long this would last. None of us. We did not know it was coming. We did not anticipate such a incredible cosmic change and global intervention to happen in such a quick notice. But now we know it's here. So I spend a certain amount of money and I'm expecting certain results. What would you say on the budget that you gave us on $300 to $600 initially and then more money later? What would you say is a good return on our investment? What's a reasonable number to expect?
Really, again, it depends on the condition. If you're running a campaign for, back pain, with decompression, starting with $300, an average is usually anywhere from, 10 to 15 leads, which are potential patients. If you're running neuropathy, that increases a little bit. I would say that's closer to 15 to 20. If you're focusing on knee pain, that's going to be around 10 to 15 leads. Again, a lot of it depends on, your area, but across the board, across all the doctors I'm working with in the United States, those are probably really good averages.
Wow, those are great numbers. I really appreciate it. This is so informative and by all means, extremely helpful, especially in these times. I want to thank you, Cara, for taking the time. I know you're busy. I know you have your own children, certainly your husband to work with, and all the clients that you're working with. I want to thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule to be with us, and look forward to have you again and speak next time. I would love to bring you back and speak next time about other platforms and other suggestions that you're making for all of our clients. Thank you very much for being here with us today, Cara. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too.